Today we are on Alive and Thrive, and this is about real awakening stories, and this is our second broadcast. The platform for Alive and Thrive is for all of us that would like to share our spiritual awakening stories so that it may help anybody that is just opening their eyes or is already awake and would like to have some support around that. So today we have Anya Love with us, and she is from Northern Oregon, and she's going to share her story with us. Hi, Anya.
Hey, Auriel.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm here in Southern Oregon.
Oh, Southern Oregon. Okay. Is it warmer there than it is in the northern part?
Maybe not. We're having a pretty long, cold, rainy winter. So we're kind of still waiting for some continued spring weather.
Right. Well, this is a great time of the day to be doing this because many parts of the world will be able to actually listen to it right away, live, as we post it afterwards. So let's go ahead and dig in here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Can you share with us, Anya, your spiritual awakening? The first question would be, was it a sudden onset, or was it something that slowly happened from the beginning of your life that you can recall?
Yeah, I would say pretty much the latter. It was more or less, I wouldn't qualify it as an awakening, more than that. I think it was a search, searching for truth.
Mm-hmm.
And my path began really as soon as I gained consciousness of myself as a separate being, as a young child. And I felt, as many people I'm sure can relate to, that something was different. I felt that I was different, and what was inside of me was very different from what I was viewing on the outside of me. And this, even from a young age, began a questioning process to try to reconcile what was going on. I knew that something, even as a young child, I knew that something was hidden. It seemed as if some kind of truth or many truths were being hidden. And that shouldn't come as a surprise because, as we know, children are so perceptive, and things just didn't add up in my mind. So, and even this was in the early 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and things were radically shifting on the planet in America, especially in America. Coming home from school, watching the news, assassinations, riots, so on and so forth. And all of this didn't particularly disturb me as much as knowing that there were reasons for things that we just didn't know. We weren't being told, quote unquote. And so I began at a young age searching for truth, trying to solve this great mystery that I felt was being hidden from humanity. And I would say the first definitive moment came when I was about 13. Mm-hmm. And I had grown up in a Roman Catholic household and went through all of the sacraments. And I knew it just wasn't doing it for me. The Catholic Church just wasn't answering my questions. And so at 13, I decided to end this process and to separate myself from the church. It just wasn't making sense what we were being told. And I knew I had to make my own search to find out, the answers that I was looking for. I had an interest in yoga at that time, but it wasn't until later on that I actually ventured into that. And so after leaving the church as a teenager, I did something quite unusual, I would say, and that is that I removed myself from all of what we now know as the mainstream media. I stopped reading a lot of books. I completely stopped watching TV. I didn't watch movies. And what I did was I continued to connect through music, but I removed myself completely from pop culture. And this was my teenage years, and I still, to a large degree, throughout my whole life, actually, carried on with that process. So I continued the search. I sensed it had something to do with ESP and the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading about that, but it wasn't until I was in a train station in New York City, and I was waiting for a train, and I went into the bookstore, and I came across a book on ESP, and it was called Edgar Cayce on ESP. And I opened the book, and it was to a page that talked about karma and reincarnation. And I knew at that moment that I had found what I had been looking for in my life up until then.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really when I would say that, my path began on a different level, because it answered questions that for me, explained what I already knew to be true. It resonated very deeply within me. And so that's really what I would say is the beginning of the spiritual path.
Well, that's pretty amazing that, besides the awareness that you had, that a lot of us had at an early age, but, besides that, you were able to actually really take action with that at a young age and start doing things around you that were supporting your awareness, because you seem to, at 13 years old, already thinking about yoga, or close to that age, is a pretty big awareness, and knowing that would be something that would sort of feed you and feed your spirituality and who you are.
Yeah, well, kids, as we know, are very perceptive. And I guess I was just a child that wanted answers, and I wasn't getting them. So I persisted until I found what I was looking for.
Did you have family support around that to be able to explore this in this way?
No, I would say that, my family was still involved to some degree with the Catholic Church. So no,
Mm-hmm.
it was a process of being, as most people can relate to, feeling different, feeling alone. And although not lonely, never feeling lonely, just feeling, quite different, and having that confirmed. So no, I didn't really share that. I didn't think it would be accepted.
So what actually helped to support this growth as you became older, over the years? Did you have community around you? What other things were feeding this spirituality for you, and the truth, really?
Well, as I mentioned, I did have an interest in yoga. So for a few years, I just continued to read everything I could possibly get my hands on that related to, these deeper esoteric concepts. And then in my early 20s, I did actually spend some time in an ashram, living in an ashram, and completely, living the life of a monk.
Mm-hmm.
Completely immersed in the studies and the disciplines of yoga. So that was very life-changing, because it gives you a different worldview, and it exposed me to Eastern disciplines, which I feel are very helpful.
Yes. So would you say that pretty much your path has been pretty smooth, or have you had much struggling along the way?
Well, I think that the path is always filled with challenges and opportunities, and certainly my life has been one after the next. So I wouldn't say it was easy, but I would say that having a foundation to explain things, and to bring myself back to a sort of piece of understanding, that made it easier.
Mm-hmm. Did you always have a sense of purpose as well, and that you were on a mission here?
Oh yes, always. I always knew that I came here for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is one of the most important questions that we can answer for ourselves. And I think it's a question that a lot of people right now are wanting to find the answer to.
Right. I remember myself just briefly that I struggled with knowing that I had a great purpose, a very big sense of responsibility, but not knowing what that was. And that caused a lot of suffering. So it's true when you do know what your purpose is and see that you have a mission, it makes life a lot easier on the planet here.
Yes, because you're in alignment with your higher self, your higher potential.
Exactly. So what was the biggest thing that you'd say, that the biggest truth that's been revealed to you in your experience here?
I think, actually what we just said, the biggest truth is really finding out who you are and what your purpose is here. And beyond that, or actually subsequent to that, I think that we all have certain patterns of density that we inherit through various processes, DNA,
Mm-hmm.
or just our environment and our upbringing and so forth. And I think that is the source of many challenges and opportunities to realign ourselves back to our divine nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest to people that are just really opening up to the truth and to their own spirituality, surrounding their family members and possibly their friends, their community, on how to navigate that? Like what would you suggest based upon your experience, being able to come out and just be who you are?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. I would say that if possible, to always maintain a spiritual practice on a daily basis. And I know when things get going rough, it's usually the first thing that falls away. But that really is the source of our strength, is to constantly be in touch with our inner beings. And this is what provides the intuition to navigate through all of the challenges. And I think to know that we're guided and protected and loved at every step of the way. Also, I think nature is very important to connect to wherever you may live. Nature provides answers, and nature actually kind of it instills a silence within us. If you find a beautiful, awe-inspiring spot, the natural tendency is just to want to be quiet and to take it all in. And it really provides a lot of joy. It provides a lot of inspiration. And it always provides a lot of answers. We walk away with a deeper sense of ourselves and everything surrounding us and the world. So
Yeah, and also my personal experience too, and I believe that you can also attest to this too, is that nature is always giving us messages, or it's always revealing something to us if we look and listen, and in that place of stillness that you were talking about, because it has its own language really with us. For instance, as we were getting ready to talk today, there's a tree outside this window here, and a beautiful red cardinal came over to me. And it, to me, when I look at that, when that happened, I just feel such support surrounding whatever I'm doing, encouragement, and it's just a beautiful thing. It's a heart to heart connection. So nature is a great support. You can be placed in places on the earth, which I know that you and I both have been placed in different vibrations. And when you're in a higher vibration area, it is easier to maintain, your level of beingness and feeling connected. But for many areas on the planet, it's quite a challenge to be able to remain within that stillness and that high vibration. It's more of a challenge. So the awareness around that is to really just know that you are very, very much supported around you. Nature, angels, ascended masters, galactic family, all of that. The other people that are also awakened on the planet, that we have this incredible web of connection, energetic connection with each other, and we can call upon that at any time. So when we are in a lower vibration area, it's just to really go in and just check in with yourself and know that no matter where you are, that cannot be taken away from you, and to always know that you can go to that place of peace, and that it's not the outside that changes the inside, it's the inside that changes the outside. So that can happen on different levels, right?
Oh, yes, indeed. It is the inside which we need to focus on, and the outside will take care of itself.
Exactly.
Nature is just always giving us messages. And we can create our own dialogue, symbolic dialogue with nature, which she will respond to, and it's really quite beautiful.
Yes. So I think you touched upon this a little bit already, but what would be your recommendation or wisdom, advice to all those out there that are finding it a bit challenging, to maintain their vibration, to also feel the support around their coming out and knowing the truth of who they are, and being able to walk that path, the journey of being a spiritual being here?
Yeah, I would say just continually focusing on your inner strength, and the daily practice, along with consistently pursuing, I call them breadcrumbs. Little symbolic gestures that happen in your everyday life that are meant as messages, and knowing that everything is perfect. We may kick and scream at times when life becomes very difficult, but it's all part of an unfolding, and learning how to read what comes into your field every day is really helpful. And when you're on your mission, you open up to something that becomes pretty amazing, because I'm sure you could identify this with this, and many other people can. Information just kind of drops into your field, and people, surprises and miracles and opportunities and places, and it just becomes really awe-inspiring. And I think with the frequencies the way they are now, it's happening more and more. So I would just say, be very aware of what comes into your field every day, and if something kind of makes you go, that's a potential message, and so take it as such, and contemplate and ponder on it and see where it goes.
Right. And wouldn't you also say that it's important to create healthy, if you want to call it habits around ourselves to support this as well?
Oh yeah. There are many different disciplines to bring into your life. I think that food is a big one. I think that we are what we eat, and I think that our spiritual vibration and the vibration of the matter the physical matter, which is food, that we take into ourselves directly relate to each other.
Absolutely. I've noticed, just personally speaking, that as the energies have been, more and more powerful, and we're upgrading with the energies of the vibrations, that my whole, if you want to call it, physical vehicle just is it's functioning different, and it's requiring different types of nutrients, and also it's requiring that I let go of things that are just not supporting that. And if I don't, I definitely feel it. I definitely have an acute reaction to it, I guess you could say.
Yes, your body will let you know without doubt what it needs, what it wants, what it likes, what it functions, you know, uh, best, as far as your intake goes. So listen to all the clues, and it may go without saying, but since there's so much information around about it, but getting into your heart instead of your mind, which is, your ego is also a function of the mind, which can have its own agenda. I'm not saying it's entirely bad, but the mind isn't going to lead us where we want to. We want to become higher vibrational, leading into the fifth dimension and beyond. And this is really accessed through the heart and through the intuition, and they're both connected. So that would definitely be a recommendation as well.
Yeah. So how would you suggest for somebody to be more in their heart and not in their mind? Is there a way that would be helpful to recommend for somebody to do, maybe baby steps to be able to do that? Because it's easy for us to say that in a sense, but to get out of the mind, it's very challenging. So perhaps there's a little, maybe like personal exercise or something that people can start to work with, baby steps. Do you suggest something?
Well, I think one of the most painless ways to do it is to do it through sound. I've always loved music. Music has always been one of my greatest loves, and it's always been something that can shift my vibration instantaneously. So whether you use music or whether you use just sound frequencies and vibration, it's really quite simple, no matter what mood you're in, to just click on something and let it play for you. And the frequency of the music or the sound will do the work for you. And you may see how your mind, kind of shuts off a bit. It quiets down, obviously, depending on the music. I'm not talking about listening to heavy metal music.
Yes, that was going to be my next question. Like, do you suggest rock and roll, or is there any particular type of music that you recommend?
Well, yeah, I rock and roll is great. It could be great at times, if you want to party. But we're talking about getting out of the mind and into the heart. So just check out YouTube. There's thousands and thousands of different pieces of sacred music that are on YouTube, or meditational music that will realign your vibration to something where the mind isn't so active. Also, just meditation. It's very basic, but the more you go within and quiet the mind, the more quiet your mind will be when you're not meditating.
Right.
So this is an ancient practice, and it still works. So, it is definitely something that's recommended.
Excellent. So, leading into my next question would be, I'm aware that you have some service that you can offer for people as well too, to assist them, and I was wondering if you could share that with everybody.
Yeah, well, I've been doing some healing work with people. We do it remotely, and we access the chakras and clear them out. And this also is a way to raise your vibration, to raise your frequencies, because what we're doing is to to release, remove, dissolve, and bring back to the light all the dense energies that you're not, that aren't necessary for your path right now. And we also go, depending on, the practice, we also work not just with the physical chakras, but also what's called the transdimensional chakras, which are energy vortexes and energy fields, which bring us more into alignment with higher frequencies of the higher dimensions. So that's always fun to do.
Well, that's fascinating. And how would somebody be able to reach you if they would like to have a session with you, Anya?
Well, if you're on Facebook, you could check me out there. Or you can email me at anyalove@bitrix24.com.
Okay, and we can also put the links too for your work. And you also want to talk about some pages that you have created and managed on Facebook, right?
Well, there's two of them that I'd like to mention. The first one is actually, it's called I Am Love, Light, Bliss, and that talks a little bit about the energy work that I've done. And the other one is something that was created through putting together what I call the New Earth Organic Timeline. And that came from just, my personal vision of what I would imagine a fifth dimensional frequency and a fifth dimensional new earth be. And so there is a page on Facebook for that as well.
Okay, great. So we'll also put the links to that too underneath this recording so that everybody can access that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we end the broadcast today?
Yeah, I thought it would be nice, Auriel, as I mentioned, to just to read the New Earth Organic Timeline, to give people an idea of where we may be going, and actually, what my personal vision is, and you might be able to relate to it. Okay. And I would really encourage people to create your own. But this is just my my particular version of it. So if you don't mind, Auriel, I would love to be able to read it.
I would love, and I'm sure everybody else would love to listen to this from you. Thank you.
Okay, great. So here we go. The New Earth Organic Timeline. I am that I am. I intend a world where universal law is the only law, with love as its presiding principle and energy. The planetary body, Gaia Sophia, is free to evolve along her chosen multidimensional timeline in accordance with universal law. Interplanetary and interdimensional travel and exchange is freely and safely available to all as the Earth and her inhabitants ascend into galactic citizenry. Contact, communication, and communion with exiled space and soul family, ascended masters, angelic beings, and benevolent higher dimensional beings is freely and widely available to all as they choose. The land has been restored to its divine blueprint of beauty, abundance, and balance, with pristine bodies of water, healthy fertile soil, and pure air. Fire remains in its uncorrupted natural state. All forces of nature operate according to natural law and equilibrium, and the principle of ahimsa, do no harm. All living inhabitants and inanimate consciousnesses are free, sovereign, self-governing entities, and actively co-creating their highest destiny in accordance with their divine blueprint, divine purpose, and highest potential. Harmony between all species is restored, and respect and cooperation exists between all kingdoms and races, human, animal, plant, and mineral, as well as the angelic and Davidic kingdoms. Peace reigns across the land, which allows the ability to travel safely and freely, at will and or according to pleasure. All inhabitants are free to participate in cooperative interchanges between cultures, tribes, races, groups, and individuals. Each being is centered in their heart, connected to the one true source, the divine mother and father, their I am presence, and all living beings. All personal will has been transmuted to divine will. All minds are inspired and illumined by their higher mind, the I am presence and divine will. All imperfections and illusions have been transmuted to divine will expressions. All physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual suffering has been healed and transformed into compassionate wisdom. Christ consciousness is manifest within the hearts and minds of all planetary beings. Divine feminine and sacred masculine principles have been restored, unified, united, and harmonized in balance. The principles of purity, beauty, harmony, balance, gratitude, humility, and compassion are manifest in all beings and forms. All wisdom of the universe, including planetary and galactic history, is freely available to all who wish to access it through the Akashic records or other instruments. All DNA strands have been activated to their fullest potential with grace, harmony, wisdom, and ease. All beings have full recollection and memory of past, future, and multidimensional timelines as they choose. All beings are free to celebrate their divinity through their chosen medium. All beings are divinely guided and mentored as they choose. There is an open and allowing acceptance of all belief systems. All beings are free to pursue their heart's desire with every abundance available in the universe. All creations of form have been impulsed and intended from the higher dimensional planes and manifest in love for the highest good of all. All art, music, and science reflect the sacred geometric principles of creation in harmony with natural law. All technology exists for the purpose of and in alignment with the elevation of consciousness of all beings. An abundant supply of pure, nourishing food and water exists and is available to all inhabitants. Sexuality has been restored to its sacred form and function, as well as its healthy expression between consensual loving beings. An egalitarian society and cultural structure exists, which includes all races, genders, and ages. And so it is.
So it is. That is exquisite, and that covers so much ground. It's a beautiful transmission and download at the same time. And we are truly the creators here, and that this is absolutely possible, for us to experience, as long as we can create this vision and know that we are the creators.
Yes, and Auriel, these really may just be memories. I'm sure most of us have actually lived these existences and even greater.
Yes, and these memories can be re-energized, and we can live this way again, right?
Yes, we can, and we will, and we are.
Yes, we are. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Anya. I definitely will be listening to that several times. I could really feel it penetrating into like my entire being, and feeling very expanded from the power of all those words, the vibration, and also with your voice, with your actual vibration of your being transmitting this for all of us. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm glad we got through all the technological glitches.
Yes, we both collaborated together to make it work, and now we'll collaborate on being able to figure out how to share it out to the group. So we'll get through that. So at this moment, I'll end this recording, and thank you so much, Anya. It's been a pleasure having you today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Auriel. And you are a true sister, and I just so appreciate everything that you do for your own expansion and your own spiritual growth, as well as for so many people. Thank you so much, Auriel.
Well, thank you very much too, because you and I have been really working alongside, doing our own particular mission and purpose. But we've been able to witness each other for several years now, and I'm really honored to have you as my sister, and I love you very much.
Thank you so much, Auriel. I love you too. And this is just a very special time that we've been able to spend together. So
yes.
Once again, thank you, and just a big hug.
Okay, big hug too.
Thank you, Auriel. All right.